and welcome to Your Government in Action, presented to you by Bahamas Information Services. I'm Krista Williamson. Tonight, we look back at the year that was, highlighting the work of the government, the policies advanced, and the national moments that we have covered throughout 2025. From legislation passed in Parliament to initiatives rolled out across key sectors, the government remained active on multiple fronts. This is the special edition of Your Government in Action as we revisit the coverage, offering a clear picture of governance in action over the past year. Stay with us in this edition of Your Government in Action, the 2025 recap. Throughout 2025, Parliament debated and passed a number of bills shaping national policy and public administration. Central to that work was the national budget, which outlined government priorities, spending plans, and revenue measures for the fiscal year. Here's a look back at our coverage of key bills and legislative developments from the year. Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Philip Davis, announced significant tax relief measures in the 2025-2026 National Budget Communication in the House of Assembly on May 28, 2025. The announcement, which includes a decrease in VAT to 5% on select items, falls under the affordability measures in the budget aimed at relieving the financial strain on Bahamian families.
Bahamian families have struggled under the weight of high prices for food, household items, and basic hygiene necessities. This administration understands their difficulty, and in this budget, we are acting decisively to bring relief to the people. As part of the ongoing efforts to promote affordability, we will be reducing the VAT rate to 5% on a range of products that are crucial for the well-being of our citizens.
A ceremony for the soft launch opening of the new complex for the family courts was held at its new location on Burnett Road on December 19, 2024. Officials highlighted its child-friendly spaces and focus on mediation as key to a more efficient and compassionate legal system.
I'm pleased to be here to commemorate the opening of this new family court complex. This is the first step in our infrastructure modernization project for the judiciary. We recognize that in order to maximize our effectiveness and our access to justice, we must ensure that the judiciary has the facilities and the tools to do their job. And today is the first step in our comprehensive court complex improvement program.
At a press conference held at the Office of the Prime Minister on April 3, 2025, Minister of Economic Affairs, Senator the Honorable Michael Halkitis, addressed the recent announcement of 10% U.S. tariffs on the Bahamas and provided further details on the government's decision to reduce value-added tax to 5%, which came into effect on April 1, 2025.
April 1st, the reduction in the VAT on unprepared food came into effect. By all reports, the transition has been very smooth. We think that has been in large part because of the 3-month transition period given to business people in order to make the changes. And so far so good. We have had no complaints of any major disruption, and so it's in effect. And we're just very, very happy to be able to do this reform in keeping with our ongoing policy of reducing taxes that started from the outset.
Foreign affairs remains an important component of government activity in 2025. The Bahamas engaged with international partners throughout bilateral meetings, regional organizations, and global forums addressing diplomacy, trade, and shared regional challenges. Let's take a look at some of how those engagements unfolded. During the 48th Caribbean Community Heads of Government meeting in Barbados on February 20, 2025, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Philip Davis, signed a landmark $200 million framework agreement with the African Export-Import Bank. The agreement is set to drive the development of critical climate-resilient, trade-enhancing infrastructure in the Bahamas.
Really, our relationship is growing from strength to strength. As you can see today, we just signed a framework to allow us to to guarantee up to $200 million for the purposes of infrastructure work, so that in the event we have the need for further infrastructure work, yes, the facility is available. I want to thank Professor Benedict Omaro for his continued support, not just of the Caribbean community, but the Bahamas in particular.
A flag-raising ceremony marked the official opening of the new United States Embassy on Shirley Street on September 18, 2025. The $310 million six-year project introduces a new state-of-the-art diplomatic facility to the capital.
238 years ago, was the signing of the Constitution of the United States of America, when a group of delegates gathered in Philadelphia and produced a document, a Constitution, that would shape the course of that nation. That Constitution became a legal framework that, over time, stood as a symbol of democracy, of stability, and of a belief in the dignity of every individual.
A ceremony was held at Government House on May 1, 2025 to commemorate the assent of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Act and the Department of Foreign Services Acts by Governor General Her Excellency the Most Honorable Cynthia A. Pratt. The legislation marked a move toward modernizing the country's foreign services framework.
The people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas made a decision in September 1972 that the country should become an independent country, taking the last jurisdictional step which would cause us to have control of our affairs in a legal and constitutional sense. And after 10th January 1967, it was up to us to construct the country that we now live in.
National security continued to receive sustained attention. Government efforts focused on crime prevention, border protection, disaster preparedness, and cybersecurity as a part of a broader security planning. This is a recap of our coverage of national security throughout the year. A new chapter in the leadership of the Royal Bahamas Police Force unfolded at a handover ceremony for the first female Commissioner of Police, Commissioner Shanta Knowles. The handover ceremony took place at police headquarters on January 3, 2025.
It is indeed an exciting time for female police officers. It took us over 60 years to get here, but I am honored that my experience, training, hard work, and discipline allows us to finally carry the torch across the finish line. Yet, we have no intentions on resting on our laurels because there is a lot at stake. We have a country to protect and an organization to mend.
As a part of a broader strategy to address domestic violence, the Royal Bahamas Police Force officially launched its new domestic violence unit. A ceremony for the launch of the unit was held on April 14, 2025 at its new Infant View Road location. The domestic violence unit is expected to provide specialized support to victims and strengthen preventative outreach for communities throughout the nation.
It is indeed an honor and a deeply humbling privilege to stand before you on this historic day that speaks volumes, not just to the progress of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, but to the conscience of our nation. With the official opening of this dedicated domestic violence unit building, we are declaring that enough is enough. We are saying that the cries of victims will no longer go unheard. Those who hurt the most vulnerable among us will be met with swift, informed, and coordinated justice.
With the goal of strengthening the nation's maritime security and operational capacity, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force officially commissioned 4 new patrol vessels. The commissioning ceremony was held at the Harbor Patrol Unit on May 30th, 2025.
It is an honor me to address you today as we mark another significant occasion in the life of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. This moment holds continued significance as we formally receive a new set of maritime vessels, assets acquired by the government of the Bahamas, that will play a critical role in strengthening our national security. As Minister of National Security, I take great pride in welcoming and dedication of these vessels. Their arrivals represent another step forward in our broader strategy to bolster our defense capabilities and better position ourselves to safeguard our territorial waters.
Tourism investments in aviation remain key drivers of economic activity. Government initiatives aimed at strengthening airlift, attracting foreign direct investment, and expanding tourism infrastructure remained in focus. We revisit this year's coverage of the Ministry of Tourism, Investments, and Aviation. The government of the Bahamas has signed a multi-million-dollar heads-of agreement for a new Bahamian-led tourism development project slated for the Cable Beach Strip. VOA, a project presented by Fox Group of Companies, will feature a hotel, residences, and recreational activities, all while providing job opportunities for Bahamians. The signing took place at the Office of the Prime Minister on February 6, 2025.
This signing between the governor of the Bahamas and YGIA Beach represents an investment in infrastructure, an investment in culture and community. It also represents Bahamian ownership. I'd like to repeat that, Bahamian ownership. For far too long, Bahamians have been shying away from the engine of our economy, tourism, and so I'm so pleased to see that Bahamian entrepreneurs investing in the hospitality and tourism product in the Bahamas. You know, we talk a lot about the need for Bahamians, as I said, to own more of our tourism product, as well as our luxury real estate market. Well, today, as I said before, and I repeat, I'm particularly pleased to sign this agreement with two Bahamian investors with a vision.
The Bahamas will be the focus of a history-making event when the first international rocket landing will take place near Exuma. The announcement was made by Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, the Honorable Chester Cooper, at a press conference held at the British Colonial Hotel on February 12, 2025.
Today I'm honored to be here. In our government's blueprint for change, we promise to recover, rebuild, and revolutionize. On Tuesday, March 18th, February 2025, the Bahamas will take a revolutionary leap into space tourism as the first international destination to host SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket booster landing outside the United States. This rocket landing will secure the Bahamas' place in the global space industry and redefine new possibilities for economic growth and scientific exploration and innovation.
We're here in the beautiful island of Exuma, where officials toured Exuma International Airport on February 4th, 2025, to review upgrades made possible through a partnership between the government of the Bahamas and the Inter-American Development Bank. The project includes improved runways, expanded facilities, and climate-resilient infrastructure to meet international standards, all aimed at building a world-class aviation hub to empower the local community.
Exuma is my home. I happen to be Deputy Prime Minister for the Bahamas, but Exuma is where my naval string is buried, and of course, the most fantastic, beautiful place. Let me, at the outset, also thank the IDB for your partnership in this project, but also your partnership in projects all across the islands of the Bahamas. I happen to know that at the moment, you are also deeply involved in many other projects in terms of coastal protection, in terms of clinics, and other infrastructural works across the islands of the Bahamas. And we thank you for your unwavering long-standing partnership with the Bahamas. When we speak of the infrastructural development here, the IDB is investing 35 plus million into this specific project. And the government of the Bahamas and its partners are investing an additional 50 million to ensure that we have what it takes here to build the type of hub that is necessary for the continued growth, not just of Exuma, but of all of the southeastern and central islands of the Bahamas.
The government of the Bahamas signaled a major economic boost for Exuma with the signing of a $100 million heads of agreement with Sandals Resorts International for the redevelopment of Sandals Emerald Bay into the Beaches Exuma Resort. The signing took place at the office of the Prime Minister on November 21st, 2025.
Now, even from Nassau, you can feel the pride and determination that runs through that island. Exuma has a spirit that never dims, a confidence in its future, a belief in its people, and a steady resilience that has carried it through every season. And there's someone who brings that Exuma spirit into every room he walks into. I don't know whether you felt it this morning. The Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Chester Cooper. Anytime he walks into the room, he brings that Exuma spirit. Let me say this in a personal way because he has earned it. Chester is Exuma's son, and he fights for this island the way a man fights for his own family. When he walks into my office with a proposal for Exuma, there's no hesitation in his voice. He tells me plainly, Prime Minister, my people need this. We must move. Don't forget your mother's from there too. And he pushes. Then he pushes again. And he doesn't stop until he knows progress is on the way.
More of this special edition of Your Government in Action, the 2025 recap, when we return. Welcome back to this special edition of Your Government in Action, the 2025 recap. I'm Carissa Williamson. Education continues to be a major area of focus. Government initiatives address school infrastructure, curriculum development, and student access across the education system. Let's revisit our coverage of education throughout 2025. The Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training officially launched its new educational game show called Social Mania, aimed at helping to prepare students for national social studies exams through fun, interactive competition. The announcement took place at the Ministry on April 25th, 2025.
It is my pleasure to be here to support this academic program, which seeks to promote creativity in educational instruction, fosters an appreciation for learning, and provides support for excellence in national examinations. This academic game show is in keeping with the ministry's vision for an education system that will foster academic excellence and equip students with multiple literacies that will enable them to make meaningful contributions as nation builders who are globally competitive. Social Mania is designed to prepare our upper primary and junior high school students for success in the social studies in GLAT and the BJC examinations. But it's also about celebrating excellence, fostering teamwork, and showcasing the brilliance of our young scholars across the Bahamas. The game show, as you see, features a Jeopardy-style format where 3 students from each participating school compete, answering questions drawn directly from the Department of Education's Social Studies curriculum. 13 episodes are featured in this first season, in which we will see 72 talented students representing schools from New Providence and the Family Islands. And they battled it out in friendly but fierce competition.
With the continued goal of furthering the empowerment of the youth and broadening their horizons, the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, in conjunction with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Works, Local Government and Family Island Affairs, hosted a meet and greet for students participating in the Junior Sailing Program. The meet and greet took place at YGIA McVie Primary School on March 21st, 2025.
We're an archipelago. When you look at our geography, we have islands scattered through the sea. I'm told in our maritime policy, almost 200,000 square miles of ocean. We usually say 100,000, but I'm told it's actually more than that. And that we have different islands with different cultures and different nuances, the boat building, the music, the food, flour cake is made differently depending on where you get it from, Cat Island, Akron, etc. But we're all one, we're one people. But it's natural that we should find a relationship with the sea, whether it's through fishing, swimming, or sailing. And sailing has a very long history in our nation, particularly because of our archipelagic status, but also because it's become one of the great sporting events every year, annually, in Exuma, Long Island, and elsewhere throughout the country. So it is so good to see that young people are developing a synergy, a relationship with our seas and our waters.
During her 2025-2026 national budget contribution in the House of Assembly on June 5, 2025, Minister of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, the Honorable Glenys Hannah Martin, highlighted major efforts to amplify student wellness and improve school attendance, which includes the National School Breakfast Program.
In the Ministry of Education, we produced buttons and we erected billboards, which can be seen throughout New Providence, in Grand Bahama and Abaco, depicting the images of children, which declares, every child counts. This solemn principle undergirds our policies, decisions, and actions. It fires our determination. The core purpose of the education system must be to instill in our young people a fortified sense of self and equip them with the essential skills needed to navigate life successfully and confidently in this environment and with their limitations, to live happy and fulfilled lives.
Parliamentary developments also marked the year. The nation paused to reflect on the passing of the late Honorable Vaughn Miller. The late Honorable Vaughn Miller served as Minister of the Environment and Natural Resources and as the Member of Parliament for the Golden Isles constituency. A solemn service celebrated his life, public service, faith, and dedication to national development. Following his passing, a by-election was held in Golden Isles where voters elected former Senator the Honorable Darren Pitstock to fill the vacant seat. Subsequently, Deasante Small was sworn in as a new senator. Here's a look back at those parliamentary moments. Family, friends, colleagues, and dignitaries all gathered at Bahamas Faith Ministries International on October 24, 2025, to pay final respects to the late Honorable Vaughn Miller, the Minister for the Environment and Natural Resources and the Member of Parliament for the Golden Isles constituency. The solemn ceremony celebrated a life of public service, faith, and a dedication to national development.
Following the announcement of the death of our dear departed brother, I received a letter from His Majesty King Charles III. And yesterday I was reflecting on that letter. It was a letter of condolence written after he had heard of the passing of our brother. What stayed with me most was not only His Majesty's sympathy, but the way he remembered him. The king wrote, and I quote, "I just wanted to write to you to say how very sorry I was to learn of the death of your esteemed colleague, the Honorable Vaughn Peterson Miller, and to send my most sincere condolences to his family at this difficult time. I understand that Minister Miller was a man of great integrity, whose strong faith and values guided his leadership.
The government of the Bahamas has made significant moves in a bid to address various challenges facing the country's judicial system. The challenges and remedies were highlighted during the Conference of Caribbean Chief Justices and Heads of Judiciary held at the Bahamar Convention Center on June 18, 2025.
This conference is extremely important. Its contribution to the administration of justice throughout our region cannot be understated. Judicial systems we know throughout our region are experiencing many of the same challenges, and the Chief Justice spoke of some of those challenges that we, as small island countries throughout the region, are experiencing. And we must address these issues. Under our administration, we have been aggressive in our legislative agenda to try to assist with the challenges that the Chief Justice has mentioned. We amended the Magistrates Act to increase the financial thresholds of jurisdiction of a magistrate to hear certain matters and adjust the maximum penalties that could be awarded. The broadening of the jurisdiction of the Magistrates Court is intended to rebalance cases between the Supreme Court and the Magistrates Court to relieve the volume of minor disputes from the calendar of the Supreme Court. As mentioned by the Chief Justice, we passed the Court Services Act, which empowers the judiciary of the Bahamas to operate autonomously from an administrative point of view and takes away the oversight and a lot of times the bureaucracy that occurred from the central government when it comes to the functions and good governance of the judiciary.
Technology played an expanding role in the delivery of government services in 2025. Initiatives focused on modernizing systems, digitizing public services, and improving access through online platforms and upgraded infrastructure. Here's how government services continue to evolve through technology. With the goal of shining a spotlight on Bahamian talent and creativity and strengthen the orange economy, the National Cultural Registry website was launched. The new platform, developed by the National Commission for UNESCO in partnership with the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training and the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, is designed to be a hub for the creative industry in the Bahamas. The launching ceremony took place at the University of the Bahamas on April 14, 2025.
National Arts Registry Project is the final component of the joint SDG Fund program, the Bahamas and Bermuda, and the Secretary General would have gone through some of this. Building Back Equal through innovative financing for gender equality and women's empowerment, and it's comprised of various UN agencies, inclusive of UNESCO, and she went through the agencies. According to UNESCO's third edition of the Global Report, reshaping policies for creativity, culture, and creativity represent 3.1% of the global GDP and 6.2% of all employment. In the recent years, the Bahamas has undertaken initiatives to situate the creative economy, also known, as you've heard, as the orange economy, as a strategic pillar for the national sustainable development.
Government officials unveiled the country's revamped, rebranded, revolutionized website in a move they say is integral to the Davis administration's bold digital agenda. The initiative, started by the Ministry of Economic Affairs, held a ceremony at the British Colonial Hotel on June 2nd, 2025.
Minister Alquita said the unveiling was a defining moment and a major milestone in the country's digital transformation journey that will produce far-reaching benefits across sectors.
It represents our collective commitment to building a government that is more transparent, more accessible, and more responsive to the needs of every Bahamian. From a national perspective, this website is a strategic investment in digital equity, ensuring that all citizens, residents, businesses, and visitors, regardless of location or ability, can access public services online. It is an investment in public sector modernization, streamlining how government operates and delivers value to the people. And it is an investment in economic resilience by enabling businesses and entrepreneurs to interact with government more easily and efficiently.
The Digital Transformation Unit of the Ministry of Economic Affairs officially launched DigiLearn Bahamas, a groundbreaking national program aimed at equipping Bahamians of all ages and professions with the digital skills to enhance careers, entrepreneurship, and greater confidence in a technologically savvy world. The launch took place at Margaritaville on September 25th, 2025.
Today is a proud moment for our country as we gather to launch DigiLearn Bahamas, an initiative that represents more than a program. It represents an investment in our people and in our future. Historically, Bahamians have relied on our natural resources, creativity, and resilience to chart the course forward. In this era, the pursuit of knowledge and our ability to harness new and emerging digital technology are essential to foster the positive change that our local economy and global business climate demands. As we continue our progress as a nation by investing in infrastructure and technology, we must also diversify our skills and challenge our minds in order to further expand opportunities for development. DigiLearn will reshape our digital ecosystem by strengthening our business acumen, improving service delivery, enhancing professionals, and preparing our youth. DigiLearn also puts into action our promise to honor our senior citizens and level the digital divide.
We'll be back with more of this special edition of Your Government in Action, the 2025 recap, when we return. Welcome back to this special edition of Your Government in Action, the 2025 recap. I'm Carissa Williamson. Energy and transport development remained central to national planning. Government action addressed electricity generation, sustainability initiatives, and roadworks. Here's a look back at energy, transport developments, and works covered during this year. The government of the Bahamas has officially signed the sale and purchase agreement of liquefied natural gas, or LNG, and a terminal development use agreement. The signing took place at the office of the Prime Minister on March 20, 2025, where Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Philip Davis, described it as a journey toward a cleaner, more stable, and more affordable energy future for the Bahamas.
Has been a long time in the making. When this administration first announced its plans to tackle energy reform head on, to some people, it may have sounded like we were aiming too high, dreaming too big, or maybe casting our vision too far. I don't blame them. You see, the cost of electricity had been so high for so long that many people accepted it as part of daily life in the Bahamas. Added to the high costs were the decades of constant failures of BPL's main generators, the inefficiency of the Watsilla engines, and other failed would-be solutions. We had an aging and deteriorating power grid, a complete lack of renewable energy, and a power company over $500 million in debt. There was no lack of obstacles standing in the way of our energy reform ambitions. But, as I always say, in our greatest challenges lie our greatest opportunities.
The government of the Bahamas also signed agreements for the development of mini grids and clean energy generation in the Family Islands. The signing took place at the Office of the Prime Minister on April 9, 2025, and covers projects featuring clean fuels and energy storage systems in Abaco, Eleuthera, and Exuma.
Today's signing emanates from the request for proposals for Family Island new energy generation via microgrids, clean fuel, and renewables that was launched in 2023 by the Government of the Bahamas and BPL. The goal of the RFP was to identify independent power producers, projects to offer electricity generation with clean fuel, renewables, and battery energy storage systems in our Family Islands. These projects will regulate resource management, install energy storage capacity, facilitate new generation capabilities, and enhance sustainability efforts. Further, the development of the microgrids on these various islands will ensure consistent and reliable power output for its inhabitants 24 hours a day. The requirement for battery energy storage systems to be incorporated in each project is crucial for us to ensure seamless backup power in the event of a loss of the primary generation system. To ensure the success of these projects, microgrid controllers will be employed across all microgrids around the Family Islands.
The government of the Bahamas has signed an agreement for new energy generation in New Providence. The initiative includes renewable energy solutions paired with energy storage systems, signaling a step forward in the country's push for sustainable power. The signing took place at the Office of the Prime Minister on April 9, 2025.
A few minutes ago, we signed partnerships to deliver solar power to New Providence. Now, we gathered to deliver LNG and solar power on the islands of Abaco, Eleuthera, and Exuma. Obviously, both LNG and solar power have huge roles to play in our plans. Using the sun to generate energy in the islands of the sun, sand, and sea simply makes sense. It is past time for us to fulfill our potential for more sustainable renewable energy in our nation. We have expedited progress across all fronts, expanding our LNG and solar capacity throughout New Providence and the Family Islands to ensure that every major island in our archipelago feels the impact of our energy reforms.
Health remains an important area of focus for the government in 2025. Throughout the year, coverage highlighted efforts to support healthcare services, improve facilities, and address public health needs. Here's a look back at our coverage of the health-related developments during the year. With a renewed commitment to more accessible and community-based healthcare for residents in the area, a ceremony was held for the official reopening of the Anstown Community Clinic. The ceremony was held at the clinic's location on Williams Lane on April 16, 2025.
While we are here to open a clinic, we must also face the truth. For too long, too many Bahamians have lived with a healthcare system that has struggled to meet their most basic needs. They have waited too long for help, traveled too far for treatment, watched facilities close or fall into disrepair. And they have spoken out loudly, clearly, and might I add, rightly. They have said the system is broken, and they are not wrong. For the past 3 years, we have begun the work of bending it back into shape. Minister Dowell, have every confidence to believe in what you're doing.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness officially welcomed 40 nurses and 10 doctors from Ghana on April 28, 2025, during the opening of a 3-day orientation session held at Superclubs Breezes. The medical professionals will join healthcare teams across the country to strengthen national services. Our Matt Mora has more.
The orientation was held over a 3-day period, during which time the new hires were immersed in the ministry's efforts to transform the country's public primary healthcare system and infrastructure into a fully functioning modern digitized service. Dr. Darvell said the new hires will play a key role in those efforts by helping to fill some of the human resource gaps that have occurred as a direct result of the developed countries moving aggressively to recruit healthcare workers in the Bahamas and the other English-speaking Caribbean countries. The Health and Wellness Minister spoke to some of the areas the orientation covered.
You will learn a lot about what we are doing, how we are transforming healthcare infrastructural development. You will learn about how we have gone through aggressive crusade to upgrade primary healthcare facilities across all of our family islands. You'll learn about our new digital platforms. You'll learn about what we plan to do with telemedicine. You learn about our new EMT system on the ground, and the list goes on and on.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness, in partnership with the Inter-American Development Bank, held a contract signing ceremony for the retrofitting of a new national reference laboratory. The facility is expected to enhance services and support overall improvements in the country's healthcare system. The signing ceremony took place at the Ministry of Health and Wellness on May 5, 2025.
I'm pleased that you are here to join us at the Ministry of Health and Wellness for the official contract signing for the retrofitting of the new National Reference Lab. Today marks an important milestone in my ministry's ongoing efforts to strengthen the public healthcare system throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. This project, carried out in partnership with the Inter-American Development Bank, will strengthen healthcare service delivery across the archipelago. The site of the new reference lab will be the former Mortgage Corp building on Russell Road, Oaksfield, and will provide accessible services to patients in New Providence and the Family Island.
Food security and marine sustainability across the Bahamas are important areas of focus. Government efforts in 2025 focused on boosting local agriculture and strengthening fisheries management. Here's our recap of the coverage of agriculture and marine resources. The Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources held a press conference on February 5, 2025, to provide an update on Operation Red Dawn. Operation Red Dawn is an initiative presented by the ministry to ensure the protection of Bahamian fisheries as well as preserve the integrity of the marine environment.
It is with great urgency and purpose that we address the public regarding the outcome of recently executed covert operation, one of extreme significance, dubbed Operation Red Dawn. Operation Red Dawn was launched with a clear and strong mission, that being to ensure that our natural fisheries are protected to the highest standards. For many years, Bahamian fishermen have raised their voices in concern over illegal operations threatening our waters, our economy, and quite simply, our way of life.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources, in conjunction with the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, officially launched the Agriculture and Marine Cadet Program on October 6, 2025. The program is aimed at encouraging young Bahamians to fully engage in the agriculture and marine sector while promoting food security and sustainable development.
This is a great day because today we are raising up one of the most important industries in human enterprise, but one that continues to be, even in our country, understated as some secondary something or some lesser something, but it's not. Because the one thing that secures national security is food, how we feed ourselves, and it ensures that our people have a quality of life where we are not dependent. You notice, be dependent on someone, dependent for their good graces to look out for you. It's when you look out for yourself, when you build the country with your own hands. This is what today is about. And the marine aspect of it, when I was Minister of Transport, we developed a maritime policy because we are surrounded by 100,000 square miles of sea. We're one of the biggest countries in the region, if not the biggest, when you consider our sea territory, which belongs to us. It is a rich space. And the maritime policy sought to understand what the sea means. It's not just shipping and cruising and not even just fishing. It's minerals, it's energy. There's so many aspects to the sea.
The Bahamas Agricultural and Food Safety Authority officially opened its head office on Davis Street on November 3rd, 2025. The grand opening showcased various technologies and systems aimed at strengthening food safety in the Bahamas, as well as the launch of a new mobile plant health laboratory.
As we celebrate the official opening of the Bahamas Agriculture, Health and Food Safety Authority, also known as BASFA. This occasion transcends the mere inauguration of a facility. It encapsulates our shared vision to protect the very foundation of our nation: our food, our plants, and our animals. For too long, our systems for monitoring and protecting these critical sectors have worked in isolation. But with the establishment of BASFA, we take a bold, dare I say brave, step forward by unifying our efforts under one science-driven organization. This new authority is dedicated not only to the health of our people, but also to ensuring the vitality of our agriculture and the reliability of our food supply chain.
Labor relations and public service matters featured prominently in 2025. Coverage included industrial agreements, negotiations, and ongoing efforts to strengthen the public service. This is a recap of government activity involving labor and the public service. The Ministry of Labor and the Public Service hosted a two-day symposium at the National Training Agency on January 23rd and 24th, 2025. The Minister of Labor and the Public Service, the Honorable Pia Glover-Roll, provided updates on key initiatives as well as promoted cross-sector collaboration.
You, as team leaders, and by extension, you've extended it to your teams, have all bought into the vision. And as a result, we've gotten a whole lot done together. And I never shy away from the fact that it's a team effort. And as such, when we think about the theme for this conclave, I think that you, team leaders in particular, are the embodiment of today's theme: performing while transforming. So in year one, when we initially set our agenda, we crafted the 10-point plan to reimagine the public service, and we're attempting to do. And I remember, for those of you who've been here with me from day one, that we're doing something that we've never done before. And that can be big, that can be scary, and that can be something that we are sometimes afraid of. We are attempting to bring focus, we're attempting to bring attention and resources in areas that were long overlooked.
The Ministry of Labor and the Public Service held a high-level stakeholders meeting to address the ongoing review and reform of labor legislation in the Bahamas. The meeting took place at the National Training Agency on May 19th, 2025.
So good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here this morning. I have a big bright smile because I'm so excited. When we propose a lot of things in our country, we are met with a lot of cynicism. People know that something is required, which is this, labor legislative reform, but I think the country has grown to a place where we've heard some things so many times that when it comes up again, there's the, okay, yeah, we'll see. So today is a great moment because while we have been proposing in our nation the changes that need to happen to labor legislation for a very long time, it's not made it this far. But I assure you, because of this team, all of us in this room, that we will make it to the finish line, and before the year ends, we will have passed new labor legislation for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
The The National Insurance Board and the Union of Public Officers signed a new 5-year industrial agreement outlining improved benefits and working conditions for employees represented by the UPO. A signing ceremony took place at the National Insurance Board on April 14, 2025.
I'm happy to join members of NIB's management team and executive of the Union of Public Officers this morning to sign a new industrial agreement. Today's signing confirms NIB's commitment to protecting the rights and well-being of employees, with a focus on encouraging collaboration and sustainability. The signing of this new industrial agreement reflects that commitment and serves as a symbol of our collective values and shared goals in keeping this institution and the vital service it provides operational.
In the north, government activity across Grand Bahama and the Northern Family Islands remained in focus, with coverage of highlighting infrastructure projects and community development. This is a look back at the year under the watchful eye of our Northern Service.
Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, says Grand Bahama's time has come. Her remarks came during the heads of agreement signing for the sale and redevelopment of the Grand Lucayan held on Thursday, May 15th at the resort. She says it signals an answer to prayer for many Grand Bahamians and reiterates the confidence and belief of better days ahead for the second city. The heads of agreement between the government of the Bahamas and Concord Wilshire Capital represents some $827 million worth of investment by Concord Wilshire to transform Grand Lucayan into a world-class integrated destination over the next several years. During the momentous signing ceremony, which was filled with excitement and hope, Minister Moxie noted that Grand Bahamians now more than ever are ready to return home. And with the billions of dollars in investments flowing through the island, it has now become a possibility.
And so, this signing today between the government of the Bahamas and Concord Wilshire, for many of us, signals renewed hope, newly found optimism, and a feeling that better days are ahead. And in case some of you don't understand, the significance of today cannot be understated. You see, this resort served for decades as the heartbeat of tourism on this island.
After years of planning, negotiating, construction, and waiting, Carnival's Celebration Key in East Grand Bahama, probably its biggest port to date, officially opened on Saturday when the Carnival Vista pulled into its port carrying over 4,000 passengers, and what a celebration that followed. It was a time of excitement, joy, and awe as one of the biggest projects to be constructed in Grand Bahama in a long time, Carnival's Celebration Key finally welcomed its first cruise ship to its new port. On Saturday, July 19th, executives, directors, and employees of Celebration Key welcomed Carnival Vista and over 4,000 guests to the $600 million cruise port in East Grand Bahama. And what a welcome it was, leading the pack of excited guests to be the first visitors to experience the new cruise port was NBA legend and Carnival Fun Ambassador Shaquille O'Neal. Celebration Key features the world's first and largest sandcastle, standing some 10 stories high, and two of the largest freshwater lagoons in the Caribbean, totaling around 275,000 square feet and holding about 350 million gallons of fresh water. Visitors will experience one of the largest cruise ports in the world, which encompasses a variety of restaurants, port stores, water parks, and relaxing cabanas. This was a project that was long in the making, and its official opening will no doubt positively impact Grand Bahama's economy. Prime Minister of the Bahamas, the Honorable Philip Davis, along with Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Chester Cooper, and Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Michael Darville, were in Freeport for a heads of agreement signing between the government of the Bahamas and board members of the Western Atlantic University School of Medicine for the further development and expansion of that institution. Prime Minister Philip Davis said that the recent heads of agreement signing, which took place on Monday, will allow his government to forge ahead with its bold and ambitious agenda to galvanize Grand Bahama and revolutionize the nation's healthcare landscape. The latest agreement, he added, catapults both the nation and WASM into a new phase.
Following the successful completion of phases 1 and 2 of the university's development, I think we now move to advance to phases 3 and 4. I am pleased to note that the campus will see a near twofold expansion in its facilities, supporting the accommodation of 1,000 medical students by January 2028. Across all phases, the continued development of WASM has generated hundreds of jobs for Bahamians, and it will continue to create enduring careers as its operations expand.
The best of Grand Bahamian sports was on full display during the Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony, which was held on Saturday, November 22nd at the Regency Theatre. Athletes and coaches from every sporting discipline were represented, as 34 people were honored for their contributions to the development of sports in the Second City. Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, who officially introduced the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, remembered her time growing up in West Grand Bahama, having met many of the coaches and athletes who were inducted into the Hall of Fame. As a primary school student and teenager, she recalled spending lots of time in the gym where fierce basketball competition took place on a regular basis.
So I remember back in the day, they used to call those of us who used to stay in the gym rats, right? And it was because of some of these basketball legends you see here, like Rangoon, like Grippy, the coach, right? And Kenneth Sakay. And so we're so familiar with these stories, these legendary stories of sports excellence. And there, I see my colleague in the House of Assembly there, he's been blazing trails as well. But I'm here really to introduce the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, but I wanted to say thank you. Thank you so much for all that you have done for sports development on Grand Bahama Island.
As we conclude our 2025 recap, these stories reflect a year of governance defined by legislation, policy implementation, and national service. They capture how the government worked across sectors to address priorities, respond to challenges, and carry out its mandate. I'm Carissa Williamson, and this has been the 2025 recap of Your Government in Action, a proud presentation of Bahamas Information Services. Thank you for joining us, and stay with us this year as we continue to bring you highlights, coverage, and information as we continue to do what we do best, linking people and government.